We are live. What's up, Dirk?
You know, it's just another day in paradise, as they say. How are you doing, sir?
I'm not doing too bad myself. Kind of had a lazy Sunday, so I'm just kind of getting up, you know.
Okay.
But it is nice to be here with y'all. We were gonna do a full Sharp Talk reunion episode because Dirk was also part of Sharp Talk, and that's kind of where the roots came with me, my buddy Tom. We got Super Steel Steve and Gerald. There's one other guy in between somewhere, and but I do have Tom that made it. I have a feeling that Steve will come in late fashion as usual. And I did speak to Gerald. He says he may or may not make it because he's homesteading, and where he's at, he doesn't have good internet. And
okay.
So he said he was going to literally try to drive to a McDonald's with his phone so he could join us. But that might be a mission impossible, guys. So we'll try to see if Gerald shows up. But I love Gerald. He's a great dude. So
we'll see how it goes. And thank you and welcome to everybody out there. I see Wilson and Will and Alice, Professor EDC, and all the normal guys. And we appreciate you joining in for a little or all of tonight's episode.
Absolutely. So let's bring in Tom, man. After you flip that bad boy,
flip the
bad boy over.
Hourglass that I forgot about. And yeah, we got Tom.
What's going on,
Tom,
guys?
what is going on
there
here?
You're looking at it, buddy.
Guys, I am so happy Tom is here today because I finally get to make fun of his hands again.
Oh,
so here we go. Those tiny little hands. They're
what
mighty,
neck do you want me to
guys.
hold in my hand so you can see how small they are?
A griptilian.
I don't have one.
A paramilitary too.
I have one of those.
I know you do. You have to. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, look at that full fist.
You know,
you still got a bunch of clip hanging out. You got,
To be fair, I'm squeezing my fingers together pretty hard, just for the bit, but
exactly. Got to play it up.
Exactly.
Squeezing very hard. Remember, I told you got to add a little more twist.
A little bit of the wrist motion.
Yeah, a little. It'll help you grow your wrists.
I see. I've missed quite a few episodes of your guys' podcast, but I see you haven't matured.
No, not one bit.
I don't know that Alex can mature. Like, I try.
Possible.
I mean, I'm trying to teach the kid, but he just, can only do so much.
To be fair, I am 42 years old, and I don't think there's anything. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to get less mature as I age, to tell you the truth.
I think that's the goal, actually.
Of which, I see somebody here.
Uh-oh.
It's party time. Let's bring him along here. Bring in Super Steel Steve. There he
Daddy's back.
What's up, man? Oh my God, we got Steve in the house. Steve, like I told everybody else, Gerald's literally gonna try to drive somewhere to get internet, so he may or may not make it. We'll find out, But
Was he lose? What? He doesn't have internet access in Florida?
I think he said he's straight up living in the homestead, or he doesn't have internet where he lives or something. I don't know.
Gerald just went off. That's it. He's off the grid. He's like, fuck all this. I'm done.
Literally. So,
Gerald, my man.
Absolutely.
Smarter than all of us.
Yeah. I know. He fucking. Does he have a P.O. box or something? Or is he just he's just giving up on civilization as a whole, which I don't blame him.
You gotta go send him a message via carrier pigeon.
The P.O. box.
Yeah, like a smoke signal or some shit. I need to
Yep, absolutely. So one thing I kind of wanted to get all of us back together and have some fun, and just for an hour, and hang out and see what you guys have been up to, because it's been a while since we've done one of these things with you guys. I know Steve's making knives. I think Tom, he's always kind of doing his own thing on his channel's side, notes on steels and things. So tell me more. What have you been doing, Tom?
Oh boy, not a whole lot, honestly, as far as knives and stuff go. I do some sharpening and stuff here and there, and I'll throw it up on my Instagram, but no videos lately.
Yeah. Yeah. How about off camera?
Off camera, I mean, it's the winter here, so I mean, I'm not able to do a whole lot, but a whole lot of work.
Oh, that's right.
most part.
You live like where there's like actually like snow.
Yeah,
Because
today was nice and balmy, like 45.
wow. Yeah.
Ew.
It was
It was great.
a terrible like 70 degrees down here.
No, it sounds
I was,
rough.
so uncomfortable.
Look at you
It
wearing a
was only like
sweatshirt
about
too.
I
50
turn on the
here.
air conditioning, you know.
You got a
It's only
sweatshirt
about
on.
50 here today, so it's been pretty chilly this last week here.
Tom's been getting swole, is what Tom's been doing. Tom's been up on that gym tip. That's what
I've
he's
been
been
trying,
doing.
you know. I'm just trying to keep up with you.
Keep it, yes, with me. Well, it's these Adonis genetics. You'll never be able to keep up.
Well,
So what you're saying is I should just stop.
It's tiger blood. Tiger blood.
At least Steve has a nice beard to keep him warm. Whereas
That's true. I don't have that.
Tom doesn't have that luxury. Dirk's got a very nice one too, actually. I could kind of grow right here and get scruffly, but never really let it grow out to see what happens. Like, you know.
You should, Alex. Let it grow out. Just go full gorilla.
Oh my God.
Let it go.
Just
see what
do it.
happens.
Yeah, you're never gonna know. Like you don't want to die being like, how much sexier could I have looked if I had a beautiful beard?
I mean, Steve's got a point. I'm not gonna lie.
It's like what could have been, you know, like
You don't want to be on your deathbed and being like, fuck. I could have looked like, I could have been the next Tom Selleck and didn't even know it.
exactly. I think Gerald made it, guys.
Did he? Where is he?
Well, there he is.
He got a new bridge.
Let's bring him in. Let's see.
What's up, Gerald? You made it.
He's like in the dark. He's like literally in the dark.
He's literally off the grid right now. What's going on, bud?
Can you hear us, Gerald?
He literally looks like he's in like a scary video game right now.
Right.
Like it's a Resident Evil video game, and he's hiding from zombies.
Gerald, we can't really hear you, buddy. I think your speaker is covered or something.
Oh, he's moving. He's alive.
Yep. Well, so let's continue. So, yes, Steve actually is where I was going to go next. What have you been up to?
Just in the knife making game now, man. Just making knives as fast as I can.
I'm very interested in your knives. As a matter of fact, I think I have one on order.
You do, sir.
I do, and I'm very kind of like fascinated because you've been a chef for years, and like, what are you using? Like, are you doing convex edges on these things? Are they straight V grinds? What's the angle? Like, because I know folding knives, I know fixed blades, but I know jack about chef's knives. And I know the cutting geometry and things like that have to be slightly different, right, for something like that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like you'd be shocked at how many EDC guys and bushcraft guys hit me up because they have shit kitchen knives. Like it's like the one knife everybody uses every single day to like cook dinner or breakfast or whatever, and everyone's got like these like Walmart, the Walmart knives. It's like the sharpening edge, or are you talking about the blade geometry, the blade grind?
A bit of both, actually.
So the blade grind. So on a kitchen knife, the two things, the blade geometry is like everything basically on a kitchen knife because you're passing it through food, right? So onions, carrots, celery, protein, meats, stuff like that. So the blade geometry and how it's done is everything. So the two things you want is you want a very thin geometry so it passes through easily, but you don't want food to stick to the blade. You want good food separation. So right. how you get that is through a convex grind. So I do a full convex grind, top to bottom. It's a very subtle convex grind. I'm really like tiptoeing the line because it sounds counterproductive, but the kind of the thicker, not behind the edge, but about halfway up the blade, the thicker you go, the better splitting you get, right? The better food release you get because the more of an air gap you'll get.
right?
Yeah. But then the more wedging you get. So it's like you're really trying to find like so I'm constantly improving the grind, like tweaking it little by little on how much meat behind, not behind the edge, but how much meat I leave 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch up the blade as I go. Because most kitchen knives are about 2 inches tall, so it's a constant. I'm constantly playing with and adjusting to get that perfect line where it just drops through food, but also leaves almost nothing sticking to the blade. So you can cut effortlessly. That's the goal.
Right. How long you been doing blades now? How long? How did that come about?
Since August, end of August.
Wow.
So, well, I mean, I don't know if anybody remembers, but years ago when I was doing the channel, I had made 2 small knives for testing in, I think, 1080 steel. But that was just 2 tiny little knives. There were just no handles. They were just made for testing purposes. I've wanted to get into knife making for years, but the cost of entry, right? Like you need, I can't. I have 2 speeds. I got park and then I got fucking 7th gear. So I can't piddle around with shit. I get frustrated. I get bored really, really fast. Like if I'm going to do something that I really enjoy doing, like I got to go full tilt. And the only way to make knives in any sort of like capacity to where you could like actually make them and get better at it is you need a grinder, and you need at least a 2x72 generally. This is what the standard is for every knife maker you're going to see. They're going to have some form of a 2 inch by 72 inch belt grinder.
Right.
And those are at minimum. The one I have was used, but it is the laughing stock of all 2x72s, mind you. Any actual knife maker, like real knife maker, will laugh at you if they know what I have. But even that one is $1,000 just to get, and it's not even that great. So any decent, 2x72 that you don't have to weld together, if it comes in pieces and you have to actually weld it together, you're still looking north of $2,000. Anything, or I'd say between $1,600 and $2,000, and then anything that comes assembled, you're looking with a variable speed. That's another thing with speed control.
Right.
You're looking north of $2,500, $3,000. So it's a big investment. And I didn't know any of that. All I knew was a guy at a local knife shop when I walked in one day was like, "Hey, I'm getting a new grinder, a variable speed. Do you want my old one?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I just went ape shit and just started I was doing some of my best thought process on the shitter, as most do. And I was just binge watching all these knife making videos. And there's a guy that's been doing it for a decade plus named Walter Sorrells. And he had a video at a place called Pop's Knife Supply, actually. Them right there. Oop, where is it? There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the video, he was like, "Oh, these guys are like close to me. They're in the greater Atlanta area." And I was like, "Oh shit." Now in Georgia, it's not like Florida. In Georgia, everyone's in the fucking greater Atlanta area. You can be an hour and a half away from Atlanta, and everybody calls it the greater Atlanta area. Like, you think Atlanta would be like Atlanta? No, it's like
Los Angeles.
Oh my God!
If you're in Los Angeles, that could be like 45 minutes out somewhere from somewhere else. Like Los Angeles, people think LA like a city, but LA is made up of like tons of cities.
Crazy.
And Atlanta is huge too, right? Like
the city of Atlanta isn't that big, but like I said, what they call Metro Atlanta, like I live 45 miles away from the city of Atlanta. I live an hour away. Now, in the rest of the world, 45 miles doesn't take an hour, but it does in Atlanta. And I'm literally an hour away from that place, and it's still technically Metro Atlanta. So, but then when I saw that, I was like, well, I hate Atlanta, but I'll make a trip down there if they're, within an hour's drive. Well, it turns out I've driven by the Pop's Knife Supply 5 days a week for 3 years in a row. It's in Brazelton, which is about 25 minutes from me. And it was on my way. I do a lot of business out in a city called Winder, it's in between my house and Winder. And it's tucked away in a little industrial park. You wouldn't even know it was there. So it turns out I've been driving by it the whole time. And then that was a wrap. Once I walked in there, I was like, you guys fucked up, because I'm about to, I just went ape shit and just belts and steel. And started buying everything, and I didn't know the first thing about huh?
That's what happens, right? When you get started, and then you're like, "Ooh, like I can use this, and this will be good for this," and you just start like, and it adds up.
I didn't know the first thing about knife making. The only thing I knew was it's a craft very similar, a trade very similar to cooking, and all I knew is the only way I was going to get good at it is if I did it a lot. So I just grabbed a bunch of steel, grabbed a bunch of belts, and just started just fucking knives up over and over and over and over and over again until they started to look like a knife, and then kept doing it over and over and over and over and over again. Like every day I'd come home and I'd be out in my garage till 2-3 in the morning for months. That's why a lot of people are like, man, Steve, you got really good really fast. I'm not really good, but I got okay really fast because I would just spend every waking moment that I had making knives and I still do to this day. So that's how that all got into came to fruition.
That's pretty cool, man. Like, I think, it's one thing. I think I had a talk with you about this, like in a recent chat where I was like, it's one thing to draw a knife on a napkin and call yourself a knife designer or whatever, but to actually make one with your hands and buy the freaking equipment and sack up and, put the setup together and start coming up with a plan, buying materials, which, you're going to screw up a lot of it. So some of it's going to go, in the trash regardless, like unlearn. And, it's a big deal to like really get into it and do it. One of me and Dirk's friends, Knife Sergeant, it's kind of the same deal. He's been selling some expensive customs actually to try to get into it. And,
that's what you got to do too.
Yeah. And then, all of a sudden, he bought and because I've toyed with the idea years ago and I've spoken to a few knife makers. So I kind of I'm at the level where you're pre-planning of what I know about it. And one thing I do remember one guy told me is don't buy Damascus and crazy steels yet. Learn how to grind on regular type steels, right? Like mono steels, like CPM 154 or CPM D2, if you're going to do that. And then, so of course, you see when he first starts out, he buys a piece of Nicole's Sanmai Damascus.
No, it was Baker Forge.
Oh, they're cute. Oh, Jesus. The Baker Forge stuff?
Yeah, that's the first
thing. The QMI and the whatchamacall, all the QMI Damascus stuff they do?
Yes. So, and then
it's $250 a billet.
You got to center that shit perfect.
Yep.
And really read the material, looking at the spine of it to see where it's overlapping, so you can even get some freaking patterns coming out. That takes practice to really figure out your Sanmais and your layers when you're grinding them out. So of course, on the flats, it's all Damascus.
The flat was really good underneath the handle scales.
Yeah,
great.
Because
the pedal on the blade
he grinded it down to the Damascus, and then he went down from there. So it was like a mono steel knife with a Damascus handle.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
But it's cool to watch him start to get into it, and hopefully it goes well for him. That's all I can hope for. But I think it's cool. But to me, that's more if you're gonna get into call yourself a knife designer maker as such, those are the steps that I think is kind of required for that,
to be an actual knife maker,
exactly.
That's why I started forging. I forged too, because once I got into it, I didn't even think about it. There's a whole, it's dolphins and porpoises, all bladesmiths are knife makers, but not all knife makers are bladesmiths. A bladesmith is somebody who forges. And I was like, well, I want to do that. I'm again, I got 2 gears, 0 and fucking 7. So I'm like, oh, well, then I'm going to fucking go forge. Then I'm going to go buy an anvil. And I saved up and bought an anvil and went, I got 5 hammers out there, 5 sets of tongs. And,
that's the aspect that I was fascinated in, because I was a huge fan of Forged in Fire. I watched that since day 1, episode 1. And I know some knife people are rolling their eyes, but I don't care. I love that show. As a matter of fact, I have a great respect for Jay Nielsen. I have great respect for Bob Baker. I have great respect for all those guys, actually. They are all actually legit experts in their field. And, of course, there's drama in the show, and there's characters that come out and makes it fun. And some people like that, some people don't. But as far as a, real, look as close as people can really get without actually going to the forge, I think that's a really good look at how hard, and the guy is almost passing out from the heat, and, a lot of things that come into play, or when they're forced to do cold forge by hand, with the little all that stuff. I get a kick out of that. So for me, the forging was where I was really interested in. As a matter of fact, I watched a lot of YouTubers that would literally make a little pit in their backyard, which I could totally do, and line it with a bunch of bricks, and you can build your own little stove to heat treat and stuff like that, and forge out of. So, but then even a propane thing setup was only a few $100 anyways. So if you want to make a small fixed blade with a cheap anvil, you could probably
it won't even cost you that anymore. It won't even cost you that anymore. You can go on Amazon right now, and there's a company called Mr. Volcano. It's a little Ukrainian family that lives in Michigan. For $135 shipped to your door, you can get a forge. You have to put it all together, and you have to soak it, the refractory. It's not, they don't use co-wool anymore. They use a new type of wool. They give you all the refractory cement. They give you extra. It comes with the whole housing all mounted up and framed together. That's how I built mine. My wife bought me for Christmas, and it takes about 3-4 days for everything to dry. Matter of fact, actually, if you get a fan, I learned if you get a fan and put it on one end of it and just put it on low, it'll speed it up in 2 days because it gets all the moisture out. And then I bought, that was $135. I spent another $30 on a ceramic refractory cement. That's it's rated to 3,000 degrees. And I coated that thing. Man, I can melt steel inside of that thing. It gets so hot. Your biggest expense getting into forging would just be to find an anvil. Because since Forged in Fire became a thing, the prices of anvils are through the roof. But Atlas Forge, they make anvils, Atlas anvils. They make anvils, and you can get what I have is a bladesmith's anvil. So it doesn't have the horn. It has an extra side right here, and all the corners are rounded to different degrees. You can get one. Yeah, you can get one of those for I think $350 is what I paid for it, and it's a 70-pound anvil, and then you can mount it, and then grab a hammer. I mean, you can fucking get a hammer anywhere. Get a hammer and a set of tongs. You can start.
What's funny is the anvil, you used to be able to get a simple one for probably $100, maybe $80. Hell, somebody might even be giving one away on
Yep. Yep.
So now that's a whole different ball game.
Dude, I was in a little country store in Winder, like I said, Winder, Georgia. This is a bumfuck nowhere town here in Georgia. Little country store. She's got a huge, and she's a smart woman. She's an older lady. She picked up on that Forge and Fire thing real quick. The cheapest and these are old anvils, pendant houses and stuff like that. Cheapest anvil she's got in there is $600, and it's a 60-pound anvil this big.
Wow.
The 110, 150, 170-pound pendant houses you got here are $1,400.
Wow.
Yeah. So so that's why I tell everybody that asks me. I'm like, just go to Atlas Anvil. Spend $300, $400 on a brand new one and just buy that and be done with it. You're not gonna find some guy that's got one in his garage that doesn't know what he's got. The odds of that anymore like slim to none. And the Forged and Fire thing is here in Georgia. I've met, matter of fact, Walter Sorrells. He was on Forged and Fire.
Yes, I know who Walter Sorrells is.
I've met probably a dozen Forged and Fire competitors because I'm a member of the Georgia Custom Knife Makers Guild. And I've met a dozen of them there. Matter of fact, shout out to Joshua Fisher. He was a Forged and Fire winner. He did I think it was a club or a mace.
Oh,
I think he's actually a good friend of mine. Actually, I was supposed to call him just now. I missed his phone call. Me and him are doing a collaboration with Yanagiba sushi knives. And I met him there, and he's another people can roll their eyes about the Forged and Fire thing because they play it up, kind of Chopped. Yeah, Chopped on the Food Network, they kind of play it up a little. But those dudes are legitimately hammering out blades in very tight time limits. And in foreign environments. You know what I mean? Like anyone who wants to roll their eyes, go talk to one of those guys, and you'll see. They'll tell you real quick. It's not easy. You know what I mean? If anything, it's harder because you're in a foreign environment. You don't know where anything is.
Yep.
They break it up a lot of times, like the behind the scenes. Like sometimes they'll film 1 hour here, and then they got to turn everything off, and then you got to wait 3-4 hours and come back and then pick up where you started, and all kinds of. It's even harder than doing it like in your house or in like a some sort like yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's not. It is hammed up for the camera, obviously, but it's definitely a legit hard. That's why I see a lot of really recognized guys go like Walter. Walter lost. You know what I mean? It's right. I compare it to Chopped. It's like it's not. It doesn't mean whoever wins isn't necessarily the best bladesmith. It's who was the best bladesmith that day. You know what I mean? It's like kind of an any given Sunday thing. If you can adapt and overcome, Alex knows all about that to the situation. Then you kind of come out on top.
Yep. Absolutely. And sometimes shit happens, and the best man doesn't always win. The better man wins.
Exactly. It really is. It's the truth. That's what makes it fun. You know what I mean? Like all those guys are badasses. Like, they all are super successful and are, doing badass work. But like I said, I compare it to Chopped or like Top Chef. I used to be on E. It's the same thing. You have a bunch of these really good chefs. All are successful, or some aren't. Some are super successful, making a ton of money. Some of them are. Some of the guys that are barely making ends meet. They're line cooks at some restaurant, and they end up winning the whole competition because like the chips fall, in the right order. They're quick on their feet. The skills come out. They do well under pressure. Some people don't do well under pressure. Some people freak out. You see it on that show all the time. They're asking you to make crazy. Like a lot of those guys are bladesmiths. Sometimes, like you said, sometimes they have them make like axes and clubs and all kinds of wild shit that you've never ever made before in your life. And then what's his face is gonna beat it against a block of ice, or hammer it through, antler or bone or some crazy shit.
Yeah, I always get a kick out of it when Jay's like out there trying to break the damn blade. He's just, and he makes like he's always got that smile on his face. He's like, "Are you ready?"
I'm about to fuck your shit up. Like, watch.
Like, just destroy it. But what's cool about Jay is that's how he tests his own personal knives too. Like if you watch his stuff, he puts his knives through the beater too. Like, and he loves doing it. I just think he gets a kick out of whacking the shit out of a knife like the rest of us men do.
Yeah, exactly. It's just fun. It's fun. And you can tell, man, like, especially now that I'm in it, like making it, you can start to notice what knife makers don't do it and which knife makers do it. Mm-hmm. Like like you said, the guys that write a design on a piece of paper versus the guys that like, where it comes from a place of experience, like where you could tell they did things very intentionally because they've been in situations where they're like, oh, this wasn't good, or this was good, or this was a fail point, or this wasn't, or, right. I mean, I do with all my knives, I would,
right.
Grind a steel down, take a steel that's 5 Rockwell and grind it down to 5,000s and see how many nails I could hack through before the blade cracks in half, like why? Like, is anyone gonna hack a nail with it? No, but I want to see how far I can push it.
Right.
Or choppers or EDC knives that I do, stuff like that. I want to see the geometry. I want to see how far it takes before it breaks.
I want to see Tom handle some fixed blades and do some tests like that with his little hands.
I did with a mule one time, remember?
That'd be fun. Wait,
he broke it.
I shattered that mule.
Oh.
It was like a Z-Max or something, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think G still has the skeleton of that thing.
What was he going to do with it?
I sent it down to him for, I think he wanted to cut test it or hardness test it, and he was going to grind the stupid little wave thing that I ended up breaking on it.
Yeah.
So I could sharpen it again.
Nice.
I'll send Tom a knife and he can snap it in half.
Dude, I sent G like many years ago. I sent him a Balisong from BRS. It was a BRS bare bones, a stainless steel model, like heavy as shit and whatever. But it had like CPM 154 on it, and I had it like Cerakoted to look like battle worn. I still have it. And I sent it to Gerald because when the guys Cerakoted the blade, what ended up happening is they Cerakoted the whole blade, right? There's no edge left. So I'm like, hey, G, right? So I sent it to him, and I think it sat with him for probably 2 years. Both him and I forgot, like whatever. And then eventually I was like looking through my butterfly knife collection. I'm like, I thought I had one more. I'm like, oh yeah. So I hit up G. He's like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. So I still have it. He sharpened it, dude. That thing is so scary sharp. Like I don't even want to sell it. There was this one guy who kept bugging me for it on Instagram because he's been looking for a BRS bare bones, like they're that hard to find. And he's like, oh yeah, that one looks really nice. How much do you want for it? I'm like, I don't want to sell it to you, not because I don't want to sell it, but because I don't want to sell it and then somebody loses a finger with it.
Oh boy.
Because you're swinging that thing and it's a stainless steel, so it's super heavy. So like something bad can happen really quick, like guaranteed. So I'm like, that knife can only ever be sold to somebody who's like an experienced like Balisong owner, or I just keep it and make sure nobody,
Nah, you need to sell it to somebody. We can watch somebody's finger come off. I feel like there'd be a lot more entertainment value.
I think I agree with that.
Bally boy just finger fucking the thing and then whack comes off and the whole tip of his pinky comes off.
Yeah.
Yes. That'd be so epic.
That is, I'm sure, has already happened at some point in time. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm sure it has.
Oh,
yeah. I'm surprised there's not more war wounds at Blade, because every year at Blade Show, Blade HQ always puts up this dorky like Balisong competition.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm always waiting to see the ambulance come running in and somebody. I mean, they probably maybe they're making these trainers. I don't know, but I'm always waiting for someone to just like gash their hand open, and I never see it. It's always disappointing.
The Balisong community is an interesting bunch. When I first got into knives, I was thinking to myself, like, when I first thought of somebody with a butterfly knife, I thought of like either like a cholo or like somebody, like some gangster. And then like coming lo and behold, when you see who the Balisong guys actually look like, when you see them at these Blade competitions, you're like,
they're fucking like high school kids.
Yeah,
they look like Kurt Cobain over there.
Yeah,
with tight pants and. It's funny to me. It just cracks me up.
They just left the yo-yo competition to come over.
Yeah. They're sitting there flipping their Bali. Yeah, they're flipping their Balisong. They're like, "You see my new Duncan butterfly? Watch this. I'll walk the dog."
Exactly. While they're doing the butterfly in one hand, in the other.
You always see the Blade Show. They're always just twirling shit, walking through there's 30,000 people in a building, and they're walking by everybody, just twirling this thing. Every time they do it, I'm like, one of these kids is gonna cut me wide open one day, and I'm gonna punch him in the nuts. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna send his nuts to Shadow Realm when he does it.
There are a lot of knife guys that frown upon that. They get real pissy about that. I've heard people over the years from Blade shows.
Oh, really?
Fucking Bally boys,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just walking through. I'm telling you, there's like shoulder to shoulder.
Right.
But I mean, as long as he's not doing it like a triple backflip, double primo, whatever, and right next to my head, like I really don't care as long as
you're not gonna know until it's too late,
right? But you can't count on somebody having skill just because they're holding a Balisong,
right?
Hey, they can do whatever they want. I don't give a shit. All I'm saying is, forewarned, if I happen to be the dumbass that you flip that knife next to, and I end up with stitches, you're getting stitches with me. Like like we're both going to the hospital together. Like you can flip it all day. You can twirl that thing around my head. I don't care. But if I get stitches, you're getting stitches. We're both going to that ambulance.
Yeah.
We're gonna be ambulance buddies together. We can hold hands. If I even have hands, it depends on what you cut.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, the knife shows are coming out already, huh? Like we're already getting there, right? Like
SHOT Show just happened.
Yeah. I didn't see any footage from SHOT Show this year. I usually watch it, like a few channels and such, but this year I missed it.
Yeah, some people did some videos. I haven't really watched too much of the stuff that's come out from SHOT Show, but there's a bunch of stuff out there.
Yeah,
I saw a bunch of stuff. A lot of people were, obviously everybody was bugging out about Benchmade's new models and their pricing and stuff like that. And then I saw Microtech stuff. Yeah, new models and stuff like that. Justin over at ODC for EDC did an interview with Tim Reeve. That was probably the most entertaining thing because it was just like a regular conversation between friends. It was like other than like Zach in the wild or whatever holding up Pickstead new knife and trying to fluff it up.
Right.
I saw Spyderco stuff. Nobody
that's
believed me either. Nobody believed me. 3 years ago, they had a prototype of the Millie in a compression lock, and I told everybody when I came back to Blade, no one believed me.
Oh yes, I saw that.
And they did it. They did it.
Yeah.
For like $60 cheaper.
Yeah, like how, right? Like
they said the tooling on the old Millie is like super old and like the process isn't very optimized, so the cost keeps going up and up and up.
Nah, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. They're just doing it so people will buy it, see if they'll bite. That's all it is.
They're gonna keep it.
Yeah, they're gonna keep it. What I'm saying is, it'll be just like the Shaman. It'll be like $150, and then next year it'll go up to like 200 when everyone likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the Shaman. Remember the Shaman? Shaman was like $80 cheaper 2 years ago. That thing jumped like mid. Oh,
was it me or did I see like another weird shape PM2 come out? I think.
Yeah, it was I was just looking at it today. It's a Bowie.
Yeah, like a Bowie blade, right?
Get out of here! I didn't see that.
With a Fuller. With
and
a Fuller.
I've been chasing every stupid blade shape. I finally got the Emerson Wave PM2, and then I see
another one.
Hey,
they're like,
this.
Yeah, they're like, fuck you, Alex.
I don't like. I had like 5 or 6 PM2s at one time of all different steels in colors, and I'm like, this is stupid. I'm like, for what? So I got rid of a bunch of them, and I just kept the M390. But then when it came to blade shapes, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Well,
so
that's more fun. Yeah, that's more fun.
You know, I literally just got the Emerson one. And I'm like, I know I got them all, and then I see like that, and it's not out yet, and I'm like,
I guess
never ending, bro.
Is that it was Smoky Mountains exclusive? I think.
Is that who it is?
I think so.
The Bowie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked weird, but cool.
Do you remember like the old Chinook at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like that.
It does look like a Chinook, but but it's.
I'm really trying to picture a Bowie blade on a PM2.
It looks
has
all
a
wrong.
little bit of a Ed Shemp vibe to me, right?
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, okay.
Like. You know, like the tough, like that kind of design language a little bit. I don't know.
I might be able to
think
find
it
a
has
picture of
fullers. It had like a spider hole with like a big old square top, and then there was fullers on it. I think 2, if I remember right.
I might be able to find a picture. I was just looking at it earlier.
Damn, fucking Spyderco's grabbing at straws, huh? We're running out of stuff to do. They're like, we're gonna do a Bowie.
I know. It's like it's never ending, but I love that. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, Spyderco gave me something else to chase this year, because otherwise I was not gonna buy another military just because it's compression lock.
Yeah.
Like I haven't really I don't know. I haven't really been excited about much stuff coming out in the knife world personally. And
I just found a picture.
I just offered to share my screen. I got it up.
Let's pop a picture, guys. What we got?
See.
There it is. Okay, 1 Fuller.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
It is very Ed Shemp like, right? Like,
yeah.
Like his design language. But I am gonna get one.
Yeah, just when you thought you couldn't make a PM2 any uglier, they're like, hold my beer, bro. I got this.
The blade looks cool. I just don't think it meshes with that handle at all.
That's what I mean. It looks like a totally different. Yeah. It looks. That's wild.
I like it. I'm gonna stick with I like it, but I would really like to see what it looks like when it's closed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you're gonna get this hump thing going on.
Yeah, you're gonna have a big old hump sticking out. I think. Well, I don't know. That might be pretty cool though.
It's like the Warncliffe PM2. The Warncliffe PM2 looks terrible because it's got that giant hump sticking out of the handle.
Dome thing, yeah.
Yep. Dirk's got mine Warncliffe right now, actually.
I just filmed that this morning, actually.
Did you? Yeah.
Let me see if I get a better picture of this one here.
It's quirky looking, and it was kind of fun too because I got the XHP model.
There you go, kind of zoomed in.
There we go. Now that is a good picture of it.
It looks much taller than a regular PM2 blade for some reason. I don't know if it's just the grind throwing me off.
I think
I think it's the grind. I think it's that they kind of clipped this off, so it makes it look different.
But dude,
well, obviously, but I think that's what's messing with this.
It's like a saber hollow grind, though. That's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. I like it a lot, actually.
I don't know.
It's weird, but I like it. But I like
the
kind of throws
blade
me off too. The Fuller's kind of odd, also, but I mean, it's very Bowie or Bowie-ish.
The Fuller is what makes it very Ed Schempish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's what makes it look very Schemp, or however you say his last name. That Fuller is what does it.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't know what handle they could have thrown it in, but it wasn't that one.
And I kind of feel like I like the top swedge has kind of the same effect. I think that could have been executed a little bit better, but it's not bad. I do like it. I am going to add one to my collection. Smoky Mountain Knife Forks. I guess I better.
Bearded Dude says it's ugly.
That's what I said. When do you think they couldn't make an uglier knife? I
mean, I'm not going to argue with you, Doom. But Louis likes the grind. So, like, it's one of those things.
I like the grind too.
Super Ed Schemp if they took that Fuller all the way to like the beginning of that.
Like all the way out. Yeah.
That'd look sweet.
What if they did away completely with a Spidey hole and then just had a Fuller as an opening mechanism?
I don't think they're allowed to do that.
Bro, you're talking sacrilege right now. What are you talking about? You're gonna the entire Spyderco community would implode on itself.
But I kind of like where you're going, Alex.
Right? Right?
So do I.
Not a bad idea. But hey, if you scooted it up a little bit, like a little further to the end. But even that being said, I think it's cool. It's weird.
Oh, Shane's here.
Yeah. Oh boy. Now it's
fucking Shane. God damn it.
Going to the toilet now.
He's like
Tell us what you really feel, CPM. Don't hold back. Just between us both here.
This is a terrible one. It's such a weird. I'm like looking at just the blade. Like the blade looks dope, and then I'm like, it's got this stupid handle.
But you know what? We all said the same thing about the Tonto, and then in the end, I think more people got a kick out of the Tonto than did not.
I agree.
I think the Tonto was pretty cool.
Likes it. I think aftermarket scales would be good. By the time you're going to see one, because Alex is going to buy one. He's going to get some fat carbon scales. He's going to get some carbon scales. He's going to get something, and he's going to
For sure.
Absolutely. Most definitely. If I do anything this year, it'll be about adding that final blade shape to that.
It's not the tumor. It's not the tumor. It's not the tumor.
Yes.
I got nothing, Doom.
Oh,
it's not the tumor.
And Doom is hilarious.
He is something else.
Yes. So that's all the thoughts I have about that.
There's no need for the Fuller CPM, but it's kind of in the design.
Well, how I argue with you that how is it Bowie or is it Bowie?
Either.
It looks more clip.
I think it's Bowie technically, from what I've been told, because I've been corrected before.
Yes,
from somebody.
Yeah, but I like saying Bowie because it sounds
more manly, I think.
More manly.
Here's the thing. It's not really a Bowie. It's a clip point, because a Bowie goes straight and then dips down and up, whereas a clip point just kind of trails up.
Well, no, it's definitely a clip point. That's for sure. And most.
You know what I mean? Like a Bowie's like got almost a hard stop, and then it kind of dips in and up, like a. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like but I see why they did the Fuller, because if not, you just have this big ass flat piece of steel. It probably also to take a little weight out. I'd imagine because it's only a half grind, that blade's going to be heavy as shit. Yeah. I mean, the grind only goes halfway up the blade.
That's kind of what they did with the Emerson PM2 Emerson Wave. It's a saber grind instead of a full flat grind, so it's kind of got that same effect. And
the heavier feels a little heavier.
Yeah, because from this top of the saber grind, the rest is just full thickness of the spine all the way through. So you got this big thick wave on there. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the Emerson.
And it's cool because it came with Aramis scales on it. They're G10. They're not carbon, but they're still cool.
Really? Did it?
Yeah. I bought it off of eBay.
Oh shit!
and then
scored on that one.
And it came with the factory scales, and it came with a set of factory carbon fiber PM2 scales too, which are for sale. So
he's like, FYI,
I'll recoup a few bucks. So there you go. But he did charge me like premium. I would never pay $300 for a PM2 usually.
Do you think it's a fixed blade? Doesn't think it's a folder? A fixed blade would make sense.
No, that's most definitely a PM2.
It's got to be a folder.
Could you imagine if they put a spider hole that big on a fixed blade?
Yeah,
they got a lanyard
PM2 fixed blade.
I mean,
who would have thought?
That'd be the worst ever.
The old Griptilian fixed blades for a year or two.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, there's a few out there that did that, but I don't.
No, zero. The whole thing about the PM2 is like the PM2 is not is not an ergonomic knife. You know what I mean? Like, so if you put that design as a fixed blade, you'd have a lot of fixed blade's got to be really ergonomic because you're really gonna, you're bearing down on them more than like a folder generally. The Griptilian I get because it's got kind of more of a rounded handle. It's more poop shaped. If that makes sense.
Yes.
But like the PM2, I feel like that'd be a horrible fixed blade.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and I'm personally not excited about another military model with probably a price hike with a compression lock. I don't think that fixes anything.
No, I like the Millie as it was. It was a great liner lock. It was awesome. It was, and the whole point of the Millie was again. Sal said someone asked him what knife would he recommend to someone to get deployed, right? And that's why he designed it. So it's got a huge cutout. You can operate it with gloves really easily. Mm-hmm. When you turn it into a compression lock, there's nothing military about it anymore. Ain't nobody gonna have range gloves on, pinching that little compression lock. You know what I mean? Like the whole point of the big thumb hole and the big access to the liner lock, and it was a real thick liner lock. And I don't know. I'm interested to see who likes the compression lock more than the OG liner lock.
I think Shane's got it right. Those Spidey fanboys will buy up all of these new Bowie PM2s, so public opinion really won't matter.
He's probably right.
We'll buy one.
You guys
He's
will
probably
line
right.
up and buy it the second it comes out, and then wait a little bit, Alex, and he'll buy one on the secondary and do his thing to it.
He's spot on.
Weird PM2 blade shapes. I still think this is the one that shocked the world. This is the PM2 blade shape that shocked the world.
That one was cool.
I like that one. Cool. Out of all the PM2s that I don't own, I would probably own that one if at some point I buy one.
But I remember when these came out, and the first things a lot of people said is, "What the fuck?" That's the first thing a lot of people said.
Because it looks like a platypus.
I said, "What?" It does. It's a weird looking PM2. Yeah, but like over time, they can kind of grow on you, and you can really enjoy them. I don't know.
And I really like that one with the scales that you put on there. I like that.
Yeah, that one turned out nice.
That one turned out really well.
Yep.
Just because they've got kind of rounded and stuff, unlike the Warncliffe one that you just sent me, that's just flat.
Yeah,
I like the contoured one that you have there. Just better because it's a little thicker, just fills your hand a little better.
Which I am going to fix that. But at the time, because Aramis is, in Russia, he was out of business for a while. And I didn't want to stock PM2. I wanted a carbon PM2.
Oh, no, I love that. I mean, and Warncliffe's not even.
Oh, there's the tough.
There's the design language I was talking about earlier.
There's the tough. Yep. There's the tough.
Right. Like that new PM2's kind of got that fuller.
Yeah, if you brought that fuller all the way out, that would have looked like that one. That would have looked so much better.
Yeah, I agree. Are they taking it all the way out like that?
And all the way back to the hole. Like, because that on the tough, it connects to the hole and to the tip. Like, I mean, it's all the way across.
So it can be done.
Yep.
It can be done.
God damn it, Eric. You fucked up again.
The only Achilles heel for this knife for me was just the little short lock bar. That's little short lock bar, and it just.
How stiff is that lock bar? I've never held one of them.
It's terrible, man. I mean,
you just got weak thumbs,
right?
Oh, weak thumbs.
Listen, because people bitch about the Gail Bradley tool all the time as well. I've never had an issue with that.
Yeah,
Well, when you have tiny little thumbs that can get
You're
into
right.
that crevice easy,
You know
it
what?
makes it easy, a good leverage.
But
I
I mean,
walked into that one.
When you've got man hands,
Bearded
Like-
Doom, are you asking about the knife that Alex has right now? That's the Spyderco Tough. If
Yes.
that's the one you're asking about.
the legendary tough.
but my question is, why did he go with such a small lock bar? Why?
I don't know.
I don't
He
know
has
because
all that room.
there's room.
There's all that room.
Yep.
I'd imagine he was going for a stiffer lock bar because the whole hard use thing, right? It's got like the crazy thick pivot, right? That's its whole, right? It has like a thicker pivot or whatever.
It does. It does have a little bit of a thicker pivot. It's.
I know they bragged about it.
It's.
Yeah, I remember them talking about the pivot. I can't remember what it was, but there was something about the pivot could take a bazillion pounds or whatever.
Incredibly hard to center. Very, very hard to center.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Well, when you got that much lock bar pressure on it.
and then you know, to be fair too, you know, I do have aftermarket backspacer on there, but
Because we can.
like that. Well, no, because you know sometimes it could be like slightly off kilter. Maybe that throws the specs off a little bit.
Right. Yeah. The aftermarket backspacer could be a little off itself, which could add to your issue.
But I did get it centered, and it works. It's a great knife. It's very cool, kind of like how you hold it, like a little trigger grab.
It's like a karambit.
Yeah, a little bit. Right.
You know, it's kind of karambit-y, like you could swing it like a karambit.
Mm-hmm.
Whack it into wood.
Yep.
Very, but it's also kind of like soft phallic-y.
Yes.
Yes.
Very.
Beard of Doom kind of points out here with the schlong looking thing.
Yeah, schlongy. See what I mean? See, I like this beard guy. Schlongy. It's very schlongish.
Beard of Doom is a good guy. He's a little out there, but he's a good guy.
I like him. Yeah, it's very schlongy.
Yes,
It's a good way of putting it. It's got a very strong schlong vibes.
Yeah, ask him about the pink hot dog in the shower, and you'll get the schlong vibes.
Pink hot dog.
Shane keeps hearing centering and detent. What are these silly words even mean?
Yeah,
and CPM wants you to go spine whack the tough.
Now spine wagger, yeah.
For what? I could
Exactly. What the hell is the point of the spine whack? I just talked about that the other day in a video. It's a dumb, stupid test.
Look, the spine whack. Okay, look. You want to get mad at the spine whack? Just you got to point all that anger at Lynn Thompson.
I know.
The spine whack, the thick ass bushcraft. It's all marketing, dude. I'm telling you. The more I get into making, the more I see the smoke and mirrors of it's all fucking marketing. You know, Lynn's like, watch this. I'm gonna make everybody think that spine whacking a blade with a gorilla is important, and everyone's like, got it, check.
Or
and
putting,
then
or putting 120 pound of free weights.
Yeah, free weight. Yeah.
It's like dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like, he created an entire fucking legion of retards that I got to hear in every comment section. Well, you can't spine whack it. So it's like, okay.
Stupid test that doesn't mean anything in the real world.
I'm gonna send you the link for Beard of Doom's hot dog video. Okay, later. So
don't get me wrong. You want to test to make sure locks will hold up, right?
Yeah.
Tim Reeves. I know him and his old man. They spine whack the shit out of those knives to make sure they hold up, and so periodically with different they do wild tip tests and stuff.
True.
But the point is to make it fail, and okay, this is obscene amount of abuse. It fails. We know how it fails. We know where it fails, because that's like we were talking about earlier. It's what knife makers do, right? Mm-hmm. But the whole marketing behind the lock thing, I remember that was a huge thing. Blade HQ had whole videos on it. Remember? They had the tenacious. They had different locks, and they would hang weights off of them and shit.
Yeah,
that was actually kind of cool.
Yes.
Remember that? It was a whole thing. It's just
it's a whole thing.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, which one will break?
I like the video of Lynn Thompson out in Africa in the bushcraft trying to throw a javelin or something into, a big
elephant.
Door.
Yeah.
And then turns around, it's it's about to get him, then he gets his gun, you're like,
yeah, because he has He has like 7 pistols on him at all time too, mind you. That guy is like strapped to the nines.
Dude, he's got like a sword in his underwear. I mean,
yeah, literally. Like, there's not a better armed individual on planet Earth.
Yeah,
Right.
no, yeah.
He's comical with it. Like, it's a joke almost.
Speaking of them, who knew that they sold a crossbow?
Hey, he doesn't have anything to do with Cold Steel anymore.
I said, right? Speaking of them, who knew that they sold a crossbow? Like Black Friday, I saw they had a crossbow on sale for like $70.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
$70.
Yeah.
Wow. Was it made?
Well, they make katanas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they make all kinds of wild stuff. Like,
now they make maces. They've made like pepper
throwing axes, throwing knives. Bro, their catalog's like 600 pieces long.
Questionably unsafe pepper spray, by the way.
It probably is.
Yeah,
especially now, all their stuff I'm noticing is all blister pack made in China now. They moved almost all their manufacturing to China now, which is big sad.
Yeah, they were bought by, I think it was GSM as the
GSM. Yeah,
I mean, we knew that was going to happen. Like, that was.
Well, they swore up and down nothing would change. And we were like, just wait for it.
Anybody believe that?
No,
I did not.
No, like, no, you're not. You're a liar.
Yes,
it just sucks. It's such a good thing going, man.
Yeah, I think I was not like a Cold Steel connoisseur or anything like that, but I always thought that was a company that did very well, and they made some pretty cool stuff. I've seen their stuff takes a beating. It's well constructed and it's very well priced. So
yeah, that's the thing. I'm not a big Cold Steel fan, but like, if all those knives, you could not argue that the fitment and finish on them was way above its price point. The heat treats on the steel and the grinds on the steel were all done excellent. The knives came razor sharp every time I bought one, like as a gift or something like that. Like, the quality those guys were putting out for the price point was heads and shoulders above most companies. Like, nothing they did was bad. Everything about the knife was, aside from the whole triad block thing where you could, like, use it as a fence post or whatever, the knives were very well done. You know what I mean? Like the Code 4, the Code 4 American Lawman, the Recon, all of them. Really, really well made knives for really, really good price points.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And they moved it all.
Yeah.
Now we get Chinesium.
Yes.
Yep.
I like what they did with SOG a little bit. Although SOG's making some slightly okay stuff, but
I'm praying for SOG.
There's that one little iconic model they have. What's that Navy SEAL model? The Trident.
Steel Pup? The Trident, yeah.
And like, they completely destroyed that knife in their current version. It was such, like, they had like some weird, cool, iconic stuff, and it's it's not like how SOG like from Japan was, real stuff.
It's also like, I think it's kind of like everything though nowadays. Like, if it's like how they say, like, what is, like, wealth only lasts 3 generations, right? Because like the grandkids end up like wasting it all because they didn't make any of it, kind of thing. I kind of feel like we're in that period with a lot of stuff, like production stuff. Like, if you look at like innovations and ideas, nothing's really like if you look like 15, 20 years ago, these companies were just cranking out wild shit, taking risks, trying stuff. Nowadays, it's like really slight improvement. It's like, look at TV shows or movies. Everything's just kind of like a remake of something 30 years ago. Like, there's no not any like real like fresh ideas. Like, you think of like Stan Lee with Marvel and like all these comic books. Like, they were making all kinds of. And nowadays, it's kind of like just plays on that and kind of spin off. I feel like it's like we're about to go through like a reset. You know what I mean? Like the talent's dried up kind of thing. It's kind of like across the board. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it doesn't. Nobody has to make anything cool. So it's like nothing is kind of cool. And I feel like everything's eventually people are gonna get tired of, and you're gonna get a bunch of smart people come back, and then it's gonna be like cool shit again.
Yeah,
that's what I hope.
I agree with that. Mark says, "Have I ever been to Williams Cutlery in San Jose? I have not. I've not even heard of it, but I'm not far from San Jose, and I do know the way to San Jose, so I'll look them up."
Very cool.
You want to see some more cool shit? You're spine whacking?
I was just whacking. I mean, just whacking in general.
Kane says, legend has it, if you say Lynn's name while looking in a mirror, he'll show up and teach you useless knife fighting techniques.
Yeah. You gotta say it 3 times, like Beetlejuice.
3 times with the lights off.
Yeah.
Like public restroom at the school, or something like that. I think there's more to it than just a mirror.
You have to be holding like a boar's head hairbrush, like a beard brush, and then say like no lights, bathroom. Say his name 3 times, like Beetlejuice or Candyman, and he pops up with a sword.
Yep, I think that's the ticket. So,
has anybody seen
let us know.
Anybody seen Benchmade's sweet $600 knife?
Dude,
No.
You haven't seen that? They're $500, just run of the mill, regular.
How'd we go from the Anthem for like $525 MSR as an integral to this?
No idea.
Is this Benchmade?
The Narrows, the Benchmade Narrows. Oh, you guys haven't seen this thing? Oh yeah, you guys see this. Oh God. Oh, here we go. We're gonna have some fun with this. Here you go. You guys tell me your opinion of this $500 knife.
$522 here on Made HQ. Let's pull that up.
What?
That knife costs more than this one, just for the record.
That
costs more than this on
Camden near Highway 17. I know exactly where Camden and 17 is.
3 times as much as that.
I will check that out.
Yeah.
All right,
so it costs more than this.
I own 3 of these.
What are we
I
looking
own
at?
3 of these for the price of that.
Benchmade
Why is it
Narrows.
so much?
M3.
I have no idea.
Drop point. Titanium.
Axis lock.
Like
you tell me why it's that much. That's what everyone's wondering.
So here's the only cool thing about that knife.
Studs.
It's got almost a
Yeah.
3.5-inch blade. It's 2.4 ounces. That's the only cool thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty light. I'm not gonna lie, for a 3.5-inch bladed Benchmade, that's pretty light. But
it's a very thin knife.
I've seen comparisons of it, like compared to like a bug out, and it's way thinner than a bug out, and a bug out's thin enough.
Oh,
33% thinner than the bug out, it says.
Yeah. If you guys have ever done like any sort of serious cutting with a bug out already, like that's enough to like kill your hand. Pretty fast.
It's so thin. Yeah.
It's too thin.
Yeah.
Huh. All right, so whoever buys one, send it to me so I can look at it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. I'll send it.
The cool thing is it has the axis lock from the same style axis lock as the Anthem.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks.
It's got
like the blue pivot to match
coil
the
spring.
blue thumb studs and the blue hardware. I mean, I do like that, but
wow.
Yeah, not for $600, but $522.
I'm not one to ever like I could give a shit about prices. But this was very interesting. Because it's slim, so it was like because it's less material. We can. It just caught. I think everybody out of left field. You're just like, okay, rock and roll. You're in a very
well, all I could say
wild territory.
That will probably be the last time I look at it. Like I'm moving on.
I agree.
I'm not.
It's on par with pricing for everything else they've put out this year. Do you remember what the bug out was when it first came out?
Oh, it's like $119 with the blue one.
Yeah, and now the standard edition S30V plastic handled bug out's like 200 MSR.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's what I got my 20 CV for. $199.
Jesus.
So technically, MAP is 15% off, so you're still down to 170. But Jesus Christ.
Yep.
$170.
Yeah, for a plain bug out.
There you go. I just did a video on this. $80. Come on.
Oh, was it a dividend or
a dividend for $80?
Dividend. Yeah,
composite blade.
So the composite blade.
Yeah, a little composite blade,
Well, if Kershaw would stop being so gay and doing so many assistant. No, you know how many times I've almost bought that knife? 2 dozen. Every time I pick it up, I want to buy it. But Kershaw just can't get over that gayness of fucking doing everything assisted.
You know what? Okay, yeah, I agree. The assist sucks, but
like just keep all the Chinese knives assisted and give us the regular normal ass D10s. You can do it, it's cool. You want to do the cheap stuff like that, but like that's a USA model. Like keep the cool stuff.
You miss when it's assisted. You can't.
You're right. You can't just rattle it closed.
No, and
well,
The pivot itself tends to be a lot stiffer. And if you loosen it a little bit, then you start getting it completely off kilter because of the leaf spring little thing in there.
Yep.
So it gets off center really easy.
I have a particular hate of assisted knives because before I knew that there was even a world of folders, I EDC'd a Kershaw leak for almost a decade straight, right? And how many times, again, this is in my pocket every single day, everywhere. I've gutted fish with this knife. You name it, I've done it with this knife, right? It will, but the day I die, it'll be the knife that I've EDC'd the most out of any knife, no matter how many I own, because I carried it for like 9 years straight. How many times that spring, right, I would end up accidentally double clutching it and then pushing it and then cutting my thumb because that stupid assist.
Yep.
That knife single-handedly made me hate Warncliffes and assisted knives because of how many times I cut myself or snap the tip off that thing, wiggling it into something.
The tip of that's gotten the inner side of my palm a few times.
No, I agree.
On mine, yeah.
But I've double clutched that thing and try to close it with one hand on the leak, and then you'll accidentally catch it. It'll shoot up, and then it'll go back down, and you'll catch your thumb on it.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
it did make the bare knuckle in regular, right? Like there's no spring assist on that one. That was a good.
The bare knuckle. I see the 777. I have a bare knuckle too. The problem with the bare knuckle is if you so much as touch that sub frame lock.
Yes.
Like on mine, I literally can't flip it. It's so stiff that if my finger is on that lock bar at all, it just because I don't know if it's just got a really stiff detent naturally. Can't even get it open.
I actually fixed that problem on mine.
How'd you do it?
I took the whole thing apart. I greased the shit out of it, and you can see I have my finger on the lock bar.
Yeah.
Come out nice and easy.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I need to fucking just spit on it. There you go, Steve. It solves all the problems.
I have two bare knuckles. I have this 20 CV one, and I have a regular one, and they both did that before I messed around with the lock bar a little bit.
Do they
I'm
still
gonna
make
fuck
that?
with it.
Do they still make that? Someone asked that.
I think they do, right?
I haven't seen that in ages.
I don't know. NAF says they need to bring it back, so I don't know if it's discontinued or not. But he says they need to bring it back. So maybe
Hey, NAF Sergeant. I dig that vegetable pruner you made. You turned into a that knife. You turned into a vegetable pruner today. That double hawk bill you got going on now was epic.
Yep, that looks great.
The second I saw that picture, I didn't even have to read the caption to know exactly what happened. All I was thinking in my head was I was ready to read the caption and tell me he was at the hospital with his foot stitched open because I was like, I know exactly what he just did because I've done that before. He caught that in a buffing wheel and shot it into the garage floor.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least they didn't shoot it into his face.
Yep.
Yeah, well, usually it depends on the buffer. I'm assuming it was the one that was rotating clockwise, so it was going down, but it was still going to your foot. That's the thing.
Right.
I've almost put a knife into my foot more than once on a fucking stupid buffer. That's why I was glad he didn't get hurt.
Yeah, don't buff in sandals.
I'll take one of the foot than one of the face any day of the week.
Oh, all day. I've heard there's a couple stories of knife makers dying from the buffers in the other direction, kicking a knife into their chest.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, I've heard it a few times. Like Jason Knight, I've heard him talk about one or two different guys. I've heard Pop's Knife Supply because I go there all the time. I know all four of the owners are knife makers. If you know about Fiddleback Forge, a lot of people know about Fiddleback Forge. Andy, he's one of the owners as well. And they all have buffers. Andy hates the fucking buffer because he knew some guy that fucking took one in the chest because it'll catch it and spit it in your. And it doesn't have to be sharp either. You know, if it's even blade shaky, you know what I mean? It'll just wham right into you.
Little force goes a long way, whether it's sharp or dull.
Yep. And that thing's spinning fast. People don't realize.
Yep.
You got compound on it for extra grip. You know.
Yep.
And
people don't. Yeah, and then guys get cut a lot with drill presses too. The drill catch the blade and then helicopter it.
Yep.
And then again, dull blade, and it'll come. What's his name? Richie from Knife Modders. He cut himself open like that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the guy or the bandsaw when they're pushing, cut, you know.
Oh God, the bandsaw.
Aussie Mike, thanks for checking in,
dude.
Aussie Mike.
That always scares me. I'm like, why not? Like, just use a stick. Use a piece of wood or something. That it will. I'm telling you, dude. Like it'll. I mean, that thing's sharp. That'll fuck you up. Like you need one of those
VC Edge. So I have seen VC Edge. Jason was making a fixed blade, and I also knew of he was making like it looked like a hawkbill folder. Is that right, Dirk?
I think there was something like that too. I haven't really talked to him about that stuff yet, but I think he is working on some different stuff. I think he's still working on fulfilling the last pre-order drop also. I don't think all of those have shipped yet, but he's also working on some new stuff. So hopefully I can get a chance to check him out.
Yep.
See. I know.
who's VC Edge? I don't know this VC Edge.
You don't know VC Edge?
No, I feel stupid. I feel stupid right now.
He's one that does like the composite, like carbon blades.
Oh, hold on. Let me grab.
It's like a.
What's his name? Yeah, when at Blade Show, Levon showed me his. The fucking it's like almost all it's like the thing can't weigh more than an ounce and a half. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one
that guy
is 1.5 ounces.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was a lucky guess.
Because this one also has the window cutouts and stuff.
Oh
there.
wow, yeah,
then,
I've never seen that. Yeah, that's it. Yep,
it's crazy.
This one's an extra fancy one though.
Yeah, this one was kind of stupid expensive, but it's got different carbon fiber in the blade, 2 different carbon fibers in the blade. That we went with
that blackwood
Damascus steel
with the layer.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that's a Damascus steel core.
Yep. So
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So is that like? So how does he do that? Is it like a core inside that he just like sinters it all together, or how does he stick it together?
So really, the carbon fiber, it's like it's 2 pieces. The carbon fiber is 2 pieces that are put together. The blade steel goes in about double what you see.
Like a sandwich.
So it's about twice as tall, comes up into here, and there's some holes in the blade steel, so that when the carbon fiber fuses together, and there's some epoxy and stuff in there, that it's
epoxy. Okay, that makes sense.
He goes, but really, it doesn't even need the epoxy. He says it's such tight tolerance that it stays together without, and then he grinds it all down after that. So there is no lip between the carbon fiber and the steel.
Oh, so it doesn't just look like that. There literally isn't one.
Nope, there is not. You cannot even feel it with a fingernail or nothing.
That's cool.
That's pretty wild. That's very, very cool. Yeah.
And then this one we did with the Damascus lock bar and the window cutouts here with a different carbon fiber as the inlays and stuff. So this one we went a little bit nuts on.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing I saw at Blade Show when everybody was extending. He was showing a bunch of stuff. Everybody was showing their stuff. That was the coolest thing because I was perplexed. I was like, how did he do this?
Yeah,
couldn't quite figure it out. Crazy. That's wild. He grinds it. God, what's it? I'm trying to think about what it would be like to grind carbon fiber with a steel core. That's an interesting.
If you watch my review on it, Steve, like you'll see I put pictures from his shop where I have them split apart. You can see what it looks like. I did a pretty good review on that one.
I'll take a look at it. Yeah, that's wild.
He's down there near Alex. He's up in the Palmdale, Lancaster area in Southern California. So about an hour-ish away from Alex, depending on traffic, maybe 2 hours, but Yeah,
he's right there because the aerospace stuff. Like he was an aerospace.
Yeah, he used to work for Lockheed Martin as an aerospace engineer.
That's cool. He's an engineer. Well, that makes sense. He's a genius. There we go. That's why he does bullshit. He's not like a retard Neanderthal like me. Like he's a smart guy.
True genius is all you can say about this.
Yeah,
you did a great job with that one.
That makes sense. So it's some sort of fit up, and then he uses an epoxy to like really set the.
So it's not like something you're gonna want to stab through a metal can.
Well, no, obviously. I mean, you feel it, and
its carbon fiber is way stronger than you think. Like, these things are not delicate at all. You pick it up off the table, you think it is, but it's really not. This is one of the knives I carry the most of.
Yeah,
not that I'm a hard to use guy, but
I wouldn't be scared to use it though at all.
I would not be scared to use this at all. And I took the other one. I have a standard build also, and that's the one I took to Moab last year when I went for a week. And Jason said, "Just dude, if you break it, try to get it on video. But if it breaks, I'll just fix it and build a new one. Like, don't even worry about it. Just use it for whatever you want while you're in Moab all week." Okay.
Yeah, that's funny.
It's perfect. And then I sent that one around to Alex and to a couple other channels, and Jim Skelton did a video on all of them and stuff like that too. So
It's very wild when you hold it because it's so light. It's like deceptive. And the other thing is that's weird about it is it's so light, and I don't know, maybe this is just me because I don't have a lot of experience with flippers. It feels like it would be really soft when you open it up, but it snaps like a regular steel or titanium frame lock.
Yep.
Like it has
no difference.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels like when you would flip it, it would be very soft and like not snappy. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Nope.
Like it feels like it would be very muted, but it's not. It feels like it fires like a regular knife.
Oh yeah, you can almost not even like
You've
the
got a little
lightest.
seam.
There you go. It didn't fire all the way, but that's
Barely.
about the lightest I could do.
Flip built in there with a little detent ball. So the detent
Does it? Okay.
metal.
Uh-huh.
So
And he makes his own bearings.
yeah.
Of course he does.
It's
Of
pretty
course
cool.
he does. He has to.
And they're in the shape of a V and a C.
Oh yeah, he puts his initials in.
His initials is in the bearing cage. So there's bearings that form a V and a C.
What?
See, that's dope. See, that's the kind of like because fuck you, that's why mentality that I appreciate. Like
Right.
why would you do that? Because I can. That's why. Because you can't and I can.
Yep.
It also tells you how to orient them. That's why.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
there's
Upside down.
a legit reason, a method to his
Engineer,
madness
man.
in
He's
building
an
it.
engineer. Like
Yep.
he's clever. And I was like, yeah, that's smart. Very smart how he did that. Because
That is very wild.
I took Dirk's apart. I was scared shitless, but I took it apart. And I was looking inside, smiling. I was like, wow, look at all this. This is really well constructed.
Yep.
It was tricky to get it back together. You're kind of scared because it's fibers. It's not like
Right.
aluminum or anything. So like I took extra time torquing things down because I was scared to tighten it up. But actually, like everything's threaded in there. Everything has like its settings. So the knife was really easy to put back together after all, regardless of how scary it looked. Yeah, it was a really well put together knife.
Yeah.
I mean, just like steel or titanium. Like there's grades and better and worse of all things. My Carta G10 carbon fiber is one of them. I'm sure the carbon fiber he's using is the highest quality he could possibly find. You know what I mean? Its strength to weight ratio is probably off the chart. That's like you said. Everything's. I'm imagining those screws are probably threaded through that carbon fiber.
Yep.
Yeah, which is wild. Like in your brain, like in my brain, it doesn't make sense, right? You're like, it would strip out. It's steel, carbon fiber, but his knowledge of material science, being a fucking engineer for Lockheed Martin, is up here. I'm not going to doubt that it's not going to do what he says it's going to do. It's just, that's the kind of stuff I like, though. Like that's innovative.
He's pushing the edge of whatever idea he's got, you know, like he's just pushing that idea to the edge of the limits, right? Make the lightest knife possible. And I think
only number 80. He'd only made 80. This is number 80.
Yeah.
So he hasn't been doing it very long.
Well, I heard, Levante was doing it from 2018 or 2019 or something recent. He started.
Yeah, maybe 19, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was recent. It was within the last. This was last year. It was within 2 years. It was super recent. He started. Yeah. But what I also like is that he's proving yet again that American engineers are still better than Canadian engineers. Fuck you, Grimsmo. I'm kidding. I love the Grimsmo boys. I'm just saying we outdid you. You thought you had it. You thought you had it, but we outdid you.
Have you taken one of them apart at all, Steve?
Oh yeah. Dude,
so nice.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Again, there's a lot of little details and like everything from the gradient of the detent ramp to the way that they have their names in the bearing races and stuff and all kinds of little. That's the first thing I did. Matter of fact, I think it was 2019 when me and Vinny Nero were hanging out. He put his name into a lottery, literally. And I swear to God, they looked at him and just pulled his name right out on purpose. And then he ended up buying one right. Yeah, he ended up buying. He almost didn't make it home. He almost didn't have gas money to make it home. He bought that knife, and the first thing we did was take it apart. Like right there, we're like, all right. Yeah.
Is that guy still around? Vinny? Is he still
Vinny? It's funny. Vinny actually texted me the other day. Yeah, he's his career. He's in some sort of sales business now with houses or something. He's just out making a whole bunch of money doing this thing. He just like randomly popped up because I'll send him text messages like every Pride Month and be like Happy Pride Month and try to encourage him. to encourage him and know that we love him and stuff like that. And
he's super knowledgeable channel. I like Nero knives.
Vinny's a shit. Yeah, Vinny's like me when it comes to his hobbies, or like one of any of us. He's got like 2 gears, you know.
Yeah.
So like so that's why he like pops in and out. Like he'll stay out of it because he knows once he gets in it, and then every year or two he'll pop back in and then blow just a ridiculous amount of money on every knife that he wants, and then be like, "Fuck, what did I just do?" Yeah. He's like, and it disappears again, so he doesn't do it anymore. You know, goes and finds something else to throw money at. You know.
Yeah. So Alex, Mark asks, do you have a Spyderco K2?
I do not, because I have 2.
The real one.
K2s. Yeah, I have a small and a large, and they're both.
Oh, that's the
knives,
what's his name? Farin.
Yeah, Farid Mayer.
Farin. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah,
Mayer.
I did videos on the custom K2s, the original.
Yeah,
K2s.
they're lock stick galore. They're
yep. They got that wavy cutout on the lock bar.
Yeah, they're interesting. I still have them. I don't know why, but I still have them, and there's something I like about them. I mean, I think they're kind of junky, so I think a Spyderco K2 might be better built.
Yeah.
But
really,
I would think so.
Yep.
But you know, like the Spyder K2 came because that stupid knife was popular before it became a production knife, you know.
What seal are your customs in, Alex?
CPM D3.
That's what I thought. He did use a lot of that.
Yeah, he did nothing but that. He did an S90V core Damascus last year, and I was really tempted to buy one because they were like only like 150 more than the regular ones. But I was like, nah, I've learned my lesson with this guy. He's always terrible. He's always gonna be terrible. So I
really
leave it alone and just, you know, keep them as is. I mean, they're not. Yeah, I don't know.
Why did
they're not
Spyderco
terrible,
do
but they're
10V?
not anything to write home about.
No, it's just a roughly made knife. It's a handmade knife. It's really rough. It's very square in the hand.
Yep.
It's
why is it so popular then?
I don't know.
I thought his early stuff. I thought he had gotten better. I thought that was just like his real early stuff, and then like now his stuff's a lot better. But apparently,
the current stuff is still like that.
My little one's only like 2 years old.
Oh wow. Oh,
do you know why Spyderco decided to do 10V if like D3 was all he was using for a while?
I don't know why they used that, but I do know that him and one of the Glessers got into a fight, and that's why that project was cut short. So that's why we never got a second variant, because originally everybody's like, make a small K2, and everybody's all over it. But then when they got into their little whatevers, their little tiff, then after that was like thrown out the window.
No mas.
No more. And I think a small K2 would have been pretty popular personally, like, because the size of a smaller K2 is pretty good. It's like 3.4, 3.3 inch blade, something like that.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's right in that like EDC realm. The problem is he's a shitty knife maker, you know. That's the problem.
Well, alrighty then.
The only reason I didn't buy the Spyderco one because of how big it was. It's the only reason. Like, I thought they were going to do a smaller one. I was like, cool, I'll hold out on that because the design looked cool, and obviously, you know, it's out of the Tai Chung department, so it's going to be awesome. 10V, awesome, fun stuff.
A lot of people thought that exact same thing, that the small one was coming, but never did. Yeah.
Like, he's just a shitty knife maker. Heard.
Yeah. I can't remember. It was on Blade Forums. They got into a scrap, if I remember right. It was like on like one of the big forums. I'm pretty sure it was on Blade Forum, if I remember right.
Yeah, well, that's pretty active on there, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the Farid used to be pretty active.
He was.
Yeah,
I think he's doing the majority of his business on Instagram now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, better off for him.
Louis, I mean, your K2 is no different than any other K2.
And from what I've heard, that the Spyderco production models were very accurate to the customs.
Oh, you mean in the lock stick or what?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
It's like I guess Mr. Fareed and Mick Strider go to the same knife making school. They all know how to do.
They're worse than a Strider for sure.
Yeah, no,
that's saying a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, because at least a Strider over time gets better. Like, dude, I've had that Fareed like K2, the big one, since like 2015. That lock stick ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
Like, and the guy lives in England, so for me to ship it to him and fix it, and considering that they all stick, I'm not going to ship it to him to fix it. He's not going to fix it.
No, because it won't get fixed.
It won't.
I mean, I have the same issue, not the lock stick issue, but when my Phil Harvey stuff has an issue, I got to ship it all the way to England. So it's a little sketchy, and it's,
yeah,
hate to do it. I have one that I
and
need
especially
to
if you know the knife. Well, it's even worse if you know the knife maker ain't capable of fixing it in the first place. So.
True. At least with Phil Harvey, I know it'll get fixed and it'll send back and it'll be perfect. So there's at least that.
Yeah,
that drives me up a fucking wall.
I don't care, man.
Like and this comes from me in the professional cooking world. Like nothing gets under my skin worse than because I don't care who you are, man. You like whatever you do for a living, you're a representative of that profession, right? Like when you refuse. Like, this is why I hate Strider so much, because the dude just like he intentionally. I don't care who you are. He intentionally does not fix that fucking lock stick issue. Like it's just like dragging his nuts across the community. Like you guys will lap it up anyway. And it's like when you do not, you know what I mean? It's like you do not try to improve. It drives me crazy because it's just like there's no like. I don't get a problem with mistakes or getting better, right? Like every knife I make, I try to get better, right? The knife I made, the 12 that are going out today are better than the first 12 I did. But those were the best I could do, right? They were to my absolute best standard. Like when you don't try to get better.
From 2015 to 2019 or 2020 or whatever that I bought the small one.
Thanks, Mike.
It got slightly better.
Yeah, but fixing something like lock stick is not something that you need a fucking degree in metallurgy to figure out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's a very simple thing to understand and fix. Like, and the fact you keep sending it out like that.
Well, let's be clear here, because I let me give you guys the lowdown. So I've been poking at Fareed and his lock stick for years on Instagram, on his posts. I'm always leaving a freaking comment every time. Did you fix the lock stick yet? Did you carbonize, the lock face yet? Did you do this? I'm always doing that. And he always nicely replies, which is who he actually replies, right?
Right.
But in his notion, lock stick makes a safe knife. And I've heard this argument with other knife makers before. I'm like, my Sabenza doesn't lock stick and it's safe. I mean,
they invented it.
Right.
So I don't
Chris
know.
Reeve invented it. That's it. Like that's like that argument in particular, it's dead on its face. It's DOA. Like there's nothing to talk about. The motherfucker who invented that goddamn locking mechanism, his shit doesn't stick.
But I will say this. The D3 steel that he has, which the lock face has to meet with, that steel is very weird. It feels very, very gritty. So I think the D3 steel choice in its own is part of the problem.
Well, how many knives have you ever seen made in D3?
Just two. The two.
For good fucking reason. There's a reason they don't even D3's older than D2. There's a reason they didn't use D3 because D2 was a modified. They had better results. It's unbelievably chunky, gross, chippy, carbide-y shit. There's a reason nobody uses it.
It's crazy, weird stuff. I mean, if you were you take a flat grind and you rub the flat side of the knife against, it's all smooth, it's been polished, whatever. You do that with his, and it's like
like sandpaper
against my unshaven face,
Yeah,
it's
like
I remember that.
But in my head, it's like, again, now this is knife maker Steve, right? It's like you're making the blade and you're looking at it, and you're touching it, and you're like, and he goes, yeah, that's how I want that. Like, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No knife that dude has ever picked up his entire life acts like his knives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, that's not normal. Like, it's not, it's like junk pile. Like, oh, that's not going to work. Fuck this shit. I'm going to go use D2 or something.
So mine was one of the first. So mine is the first small K2 he ever made a full tall flat grind. And I told Dirk, I said, I bet you this motherfucker made it this way because he fucked up the blade. And then he says, fuck it, I'm still gonna put the knife together and sell it.
Yep.
And it actually came out okay. But what was weird was when you look at the Spidey hole, the Fuller goes like right into the Spidey hole, like completely almost not on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the rest of his knives look like that too. So I don't know, like.
So I said this to Knife Sergeant today. There's a joke, knife makers don't make mistakes. They just make smaller knives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So there's, hand making a knife is very difficult. No matter how good you get at it, there will come one of the knives you're making, something's going to happen. Something's going to get jacked up, right? So there's a decision you have to make. Can I fix this, or is it trash? You know what I mean? Like you said. So I can totally understand somebody let's say he's doing like a saber grind, right? And then one side gets off, and he's like, okay, I'm just going to full flat it, right? Does it ruin the aesthetic? No. Okay. Does it affect the performance? No. No harm, no foul. I don't got a problem with that. But if you have a fucking Fuller running through it, and it makes the Fuller look retarded, and then you got to jam it into your Spidey hole, well then yeah, it's no good. You got to start over. It sucks. Like, it's a loss. You chuck it in the bin, and you go, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to change my process.
That's what made me laugh. He advertised like full flat grind, and honestly, it is cool. It looks cool, Like I'm like, okay, my big one's this typical saber grind he does. This one's a full flat. So I got small, large, full flat. Saber is kind of cool, but it most definitely was a suspected mistake in my opinion.
Yeah, I guarantee you it was. 100% it was. And again, if your aesthetic is where you want it, right? If it still looks good. And functionally, it performs well. No, it happens all the time. People, I promise you, there's a million full flat grinds that were supposed to be saber grinds out in the knife world that you'll never know about. You know what I mean? Like something went too high, you caught it on the belt the wrong way, something happened. Okay, I got to go full flat now. As long as there's no harm, no foul, nobody cares. Some people like full flat grinds, some people like saber grinds. But like you said, if you got a Fuller running through the thing, and it looks janky on one end of it, then you're like, no, I don't know, I couldn't. Have my name out there with this janky. I don't know. And then you charge people money for it.
Yep.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's just like it comes from me being in the as a professional chef. It's like you're asking money for this. Like people come in here, they're like asking me to cook this food for them and present it to them and prepare it and have the service right. And then if you fuck it up, just fix it. Like you know what I mean? Like you can't when you put something out that's subpar and you're like, no, you try to come up, do some mental gymnastics or use the fact that here's another thing. I'm the chef, right? So you're trusting that I know more than you. So if I sit here and I abuse that respect you've given me to tell you something's supposed to be one way, right? You're like, this doesn't taste right. And you're like, oh, well, it's supposed to be that way because of I make up said technique, right? It's supposed to taste like that. That drives me up a wall. Same thing with knife makers. It's like, no, that's just shit work. Don't try to like fucking mentally Jedi mind trick me because I don't know any better to tell me that that's how it's supposed to be. And I was like, no, it looks stupid, and don't sell me that. Like I don't know, I
agree.
No, totally agree with you guys.
Unfortunately,
though, I'm gonna have to cut it short soon because I got my daughter trying to break.
I think we're rambled long enough here, so.
Yeah, my daughter's in there like shaking the door and shit.
Yeah,
because her toys are in there.
It was good to have you guys on and kind of catch up with stuff and life and all that stuff. So,
dude, that was fun having you guys on.
100%. I enjoy it.
Anytime, man.
And maybe Gerald will come back onto the grid one day and we can. So
I think he got eaten.
And he literally looked like he was under a bridge.
I'm telling you, dude. He looks like he was in a zombie movie. Like, I'm afraid. I got to, text him and be like, Gerald, are you alive?
Yeah, somebody needs to check up on him after this just to make sure and then let us know.
Yeah, let me know, Gerald. I'm going to text him when we get off here. Make sure he didn't, he's not, in the closet of a horror movie.
He's right. I was down at the McDonald's, and then this UFO came out.
Yeah, for real. That's what it looked like.
I don't know.
That's what it looked like. Legitimately, it was like, where are you?
Right.
He's
And
like-
all you
he's
guys
like-
who are watching, thank you very much for hanging out with us for a bit. We like that.
Yeah,
And
that
anybody
was
watching it afterwards, thank you for watching afterwards.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I love having you guys on. And of course, I'll talk to you guys because we're always in touch once in a while.
100%.
Tom, a little less
For sure.
often. I got to check up on you.
I'm always around. I'm always lurking.
I want to know when you grow your first set of pubes and.
Oh, boy. All right. And on that note, as we're trying to wrap it up,
Pixar didn't happen. Pixar didn't happen.
Don't worry, you'll get the full picture.
Pixar didn't happen. I want your face in it too, so I know it's you, and it's not like you're, like an older brother.
Well, we want a shot of the hand because there's no.
That's the verification, yeah, with the hand next to it.
oh boy. All right. On that note, we're going to sign off and say thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and we will be back in a couple of weeks. And the links to Tom and Steve's stuff is in the description, as well as Alex and mine's and Gerald's. Not that Gerald will see you comment or watch any of the stuff. His link is in there too, because we thought he would be here. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day.
Later.